I have two daughters. She has a daughter. You know, we just really feel for her family.
Pay attention to the girl in this video. It was recorded in Truckee, California on the night of August 6, 2022. This is 16-year-old Kiely Rodni. To most it looks like just another summer party by the water. Hundreds of teenagers, music, laughter, flashing headlights. But hidden in these frames is the beginning of a nightmare. Just after midnight, Kiely texted her mother she'd be home in 45 minutes. But she never returned. Her phone went silent. Her car disappeared. Witnesses say Kiely was last seen near her silver Honda CR-V, parked close to the shoreline. But after that, no one knows what happened. 14 days later, a dive team made a shocking discovery. The SUV, upside down beneath Prosser Creek Reservoir. Inside was Kiely. What began as a missing teen case would unravel into one of the most haunting mysteries Northern California has ever seen. My name is Detective Daniel, and welcome to my channel. Kindly hit that subscribe button, and join me as we follow the evidence piece by piece, until every story is told. 16-year-old Kiely Rodni grew up in the mountain town of Truckee, California, a quiet place surrounded by lakes, pine trees, and winding roads. She was a Truckee high school student, already ahead of her class, smart, independent, driven. Friends say she carried a kind of energy that made people want to be around her. She laughed often, she dreamed big. At home she filled the rooms with music, guitar, piano, her voice carrying through the walls.
Have them find her upside down in her car in the lake was just... Thinking about the panic she must have felt was just heartbreaking.
She wasn't just a student, she was an artist, determined to turn sound into a future. Her mother described her as fearless. Her friends called her the kind of person who would talk to anyone, make them feel welcome, and then make them laugh. College was coming. Music festivals were on her list. Freedom was within reach. But in the summer of 2022, all of those plans, her future, her songs, her life, would be stolen in a single night. August 6, 2020, the Prosser Family Campground in Truckee, California. By nightfall, the quiet lakeside had turned into something else entirely. Hundreds of teenagers crowded the dirt clearing, music blasting from speakers, headlights flashing across the trees. Alcohol flowed freely. Chaos mingled with celebration. In the middle of it all was 16-year-old Kiely Rodni. She arrived around 10 p.m., her silver Honda CR-V parked near the shoreline. Friends remember her smiling, moving between circles of people, her phone in hand. Her laughter carried over the noise. Just after midnight she sent her mother a text. She'd be leaving soon, heading home. A few friends say they saw her near her car. Others believe she was walking back toward the party. No one agrees on the exact moment, but everyone agrees on what happened next. And then, silence. The next morning, the Rodni home was quiet. Kiely's bed was empty, her car was gone, and her phone had gone dark just after midnight. No more pings, no more messages. Her parents called 911. By sunrise, deputies were retracing her last known steps. They checked the campground. They checked the roads leading out of Truckee. But there was no trace of her, or the silver Honda CR-V she was driving. Authorities debated issuing an Amber Alert. Was this an abduction? Had she run away? Or was it a tragic accident? With no witnesses who could agree, and no evidence on the ground, every possibility was left open. In the first 24 hours, a girl had vanished, and an entire town was left searching for answers. By the second day, the search for Kiely had become one of the largest in Northern California. The Prosser County Sheriff's Office led the effort, joined by Nevada County deputies and the FBI. Helicopters swept over the forests and lakes. Sonar scans dragged across the dark waters. K-9 units followed scents along dirt trails, while drones traced the winding roads leading out of Truckee. Hundreds of volunteers from the community joined in. Friends, neighbors, strangers, passing out flyers, combing through campgrounds, calling her name into the trees. But with each day that passed, no clues appeared. Not a phone, not a car, not a trace. And the tension in Truckee grew heavier with every hour of silence. In the days after Kiely's disappearance, her family stepped in front of cameras, their voices breaking as they begged for answers. Her mother pleaded with the public, if anyone had seen her daughter, to please come forward. Friends stood beside her, fighting back tears, begging the same. National outlets picked up the story. Television trucks lined the streets of Truckee. The face of a 16-year-old girl spread across the country, smiling on posters, glowing on screens, broadcast into living rooms far beyond California. Online, the hashtag #FindKielyRodni trended within hours, social media filled with theories, rumors, and speculation. Some claimed she had been abducted, others were certain it was a runaway. But for every lead investigators received, there were dozens of false alarms. And while the search for truth was urgent, the spread of misinformation threatened to drown out the facts, making it harder to see where the real answers might be hiding. Witness accounts began to conflict. Some said Kiely was last seen near her car. Others swore she was walking back toward the party. A few claimed she had left the campground entirely. Each story blurred against the next, leaving investigators with nothing solid to hold on to. Tips flooded in. Calls, messages, sightings reported from across the state, but none of them led to Kiely. None explained where her silver Honda CR-V had gone. Authorities widened the search, beyond Truckee, beyond Nevada County, into neighboring towns and highways, forests and rivers. Every possibility was chased, every lead examined, but the days dragged on. 1 week became 2. 14 days after Kiely vanished, there were still no answers, only silence. Only questions, and a community growing more desperate by the hour. On August 21, 2022, 2 weeks after Kiely Rodni vanished, a volunteer dive team known as Adventures with Purpose arrived in Truckee. They brought specialized sonar, cameras and experience in solving cases that had gone cold. Within just a few hours of searching Prosser Creek Reservoir, their sonar detected an object resting beneath the waterline. As divers descended, the outline came into focus, an SUV, overturned, lying 14 feet below the surface. Inside the vehicle was a body. Identification would later confirm what everyone feared. The search for Kiely Rodni was over, but the questions were only just beginning. An autopsy confirmed the identity of the body pulled from Prosser Creek Reservoir. It was 16-year-old Kiely Rodni. The coroner's report listed the cause of death as drowning. No evidence of trauma, no signs of foul play. Officially, the case was ruled accidental. But for many, that explanation did not bring closure. Instead, it opened the door to more questions. How did her car end up submerged so close to the party site? Why hadn't the vehicle been found sooner? And was the truth really as simple as an accident? Kiely's story had an ending, but not the kind that felt complete. Even after the official ruling, questions echoed louder than answers. Why hadn't the SUV been discovered sooner, despite 2 weeks of massive searches in and around Prosser Creek Reservoir? How did the car end up submerged so close to where the party was held, without anyone noticing? Was it a tragic mistake, or something more deliberate? Speculation turned toward intoxication. Had alcohol or drugs impaired Kiely that night, leading to a fatal drive into the water? Or was there someone else involved, someone who helped cover up the truth? Rumors spread quickly, but facts remained scarce. Between speculation and silence, the line between truth and theory grew harder to see. And for many, the mystery of what happened in those final minutes has never truly been solved. In the weeks that followed, the town of Truckee came together to mourn. Vigils lit up the night sky with candlelight. Music tributes carried Kiely's songs into the air, honoring the passion she had lived for. Her friends spoke through tears, describing a girl who had been fearless, joyful and irreplaceable. Her absence left an emptiness that words could barely touch. But as the community grieved, the internet buzzed with darker noise. Conspiracy theories spread across forums and social media, questioning every detail of the case. For Kiely's family, these rumors were not just cruel, they were unbearable. At a time when they needed peace, they were forced to fight against speculation. In Truckee, the mourning was real. But online, the noise threatened to drown out the memory of who Kiely truly was. Law enforcement stood by their conclusion. Kiely Rodni's death was an accidental drowning. With no signs of foul play, they declared the case closed. But the public wasn't satisfied. The lack of detail, no clear timeline, no full release of evidence, left many uneasy. How could so many questions remain unanswered if the case was truly resolved? In high-profile cases, transparency matters. It builds trust. It brings closure. Without it, silence can feel like neglect. And for a grieving community, silence is its own kind of wound. In the absence of clarity, theories began to take shape. The first, and most widely accepted, was a tragic accident. That Kiely, impaired by alcohol or exhaustion, may have driven into the reservoir by mistake. Others argued foul play could not be ruled out, that someone at the party knew more than they admitted, and that the truth had been buried along with the car. A third theory suggested mechanical failure, that her vehicle may have malfunctioned in the darkness, leaving her trapped in the water. Each theory carried its own weight, each carried its own fear. And while investigators closed the case, the people who loved Kiely were left balancing fact against possibility, and searching for answers that never came. Kiely's story became more than a tragedy. It became a warning, a reminder of how quickly teenage parties, unwatched, unsupervised, fueled by alcohol, can turn dangerous. The Prosser Reservoir was a backdrop of beauty, but also a place of risk. Water at night is unforgiving. It hides danger in silence and darkness. Awareness and safety can mean the difference between life and loss. For families, the lesson was painful but clear. Speak to your children, know where they are, remind them that one choice, one night, can change everything. Kiely Rodni's loved ones hoped that sharing their grief might prevent another parent, another friend, another community from living the same nightmare. Kiely Rodni is remembered not for the night she vanished, but for the life she lived. A daughter who filled her home with music, a friend who lit up every room, a girl whose laughter still echoes in the memories of those who knew her. In her honor, scholarships were created to support young musicians. Community concerts carried her spirit forward, transforming grief into harmony. Music, her passion, became the language of remembrance. In Truckee, efforts grew to protect other teens. Awareness campaigns, safety programs, and community watch groups, all built to make sure no family would have to endure the same loss again. Kiely's legacy became more than memory. It became a movement to save lives. In the end, a reservoir still holds secrets, and a family still holds grief. The silence left behind by Kiely Rodni will never fully fade. Her story is a reminder. Speak up when someone goes missing. Look out for each other. Make our gatherings safer. And push for better tools, better searches, and faster responses, because minutes can mean the difference between life and loss. As her photos pass across the screen, her smile, her music, her joy, let them stand as both memory and warning. A young life cut short, but never forgotten.